Pokémon Oddities was a video that wasn't quite complete. Not to say it was an unfinished video. No, it was quite finished. It just wasn't complete. Obviously, there are more oddities out there than just the ones I mentioned. Plenty of them, actually. This is where the I comes in. Whenever I put an I at the end of my video title, it's to allow a sequel. This does not confirm a sequel, however. It's like reserving a space for something just in case you need it later. Pokemon Oddities are strange, hidden, interesting little bits and pieces about anything Pokemon related, pretty much. Secrets, glitches, rumors, and in the most literal use of the term, oddities. Welcome back to Pokemon Oddities, everyone. We missed you. When most people think of Mossdeep Rocks, they likely imagine the white rock near the Space Center. I don't blame you if this is what you think of, as I didn't notice the true extent of the Mossdeep Rocks anomaly until literally today. In Mossdeep City, and by extension, Route 125, there is a rock that isn't quite doing so hot. Due to a simple map error, this rock is missing its lower half. Directly next to this unusual rock is an even more unusual tile issue. I don't even think I need to explain this one. These two unusual rocks are the result of Mossdeep and Route 125's connection. The upper half of the rock that is cut off is at the bottom edge of Route 125, and was supposed to continue on the Mossdeep map, but didn't. Both Mossdeep and Route 125 appear to have the same rock formation here, resulting in it stacking like this. Baffles me how long it took for me to notice this. The Mossdeep Rocks were discovered when I was playing a randomizer of Pokémon Emerald. This oddity was also discovered in the same exact randomizer. I was looking through the locations of every Pokémon I had seen thus far, only to notice that Wynaut was area unknown. I wasn't bothered, as Wynaut wasn't a Pokémon I really wanted at the moment, so I just continued on. Upon entering the Rust Turf Tunnel, one of the first encounters was with a Wynaut. It was startling. I went back to the Pokédex and sure enough, area unknown. Thought about it for a moment and gained a hypothesis. The game is programmed to hide Wynaut's location, regardless of where it actually is, and it will always say area unknown, because if it didn't, it would reveal the location of Mirage Island on the map. I used the save editor to change the Mirage Island seed to a Pokemon in my party and went to Mirage Island to see if this changed anything. Shockingly, even with Mirage Island active, Wynaut was still area unknown. It seems I was correct in my assumption. Even if an area gains Wynaut as an encounter via hacking, it will never display its location as anything except for area unknown. I guess nobody must know about Mirage Island at all costs. For as long as I can remember, I had always been aware of and have been confused by two specific triathletes in Pokemon Emerald. I bet a couple people already know what I'm about to say, but on Cycling Road, you'll find these two trainers, Triathlete Jasmine and Triathlete Jacob. Both of them have an oddity on their hands. Despite the other trainers on the route carrying Pokemon ranging from about level 14 to level 16, these two carry level 6 Voltorbs. Jasmine has 1, and Jacob has 2. I had begun to ponder this years ago, and came to the conclusion that it must have been a typo. The developers meant to type 16, but instead typed 6. That was until I realized Ruby and Sapphire didn't just share this issue, but had level 7 Voltorbs instead, meaning the developers had to manually change the already unusual level, fully aware of it. What's even weirder is that in the remakes, this was fixed, proving it wasn't intentional. Jacob's two level 7 Voltorbs fused together to create a single level 14 Voltorb, but at the cost of Jasmine being erased from the timeline, it seems. Everything comes with a price, I guess. Every time a new Pokemon game is to come out, rumors seem to engulf it like flies on feces. Sometimes they're completely true, like Square Shinies, but they can also be completely false, like this thing. There was even once a time when a rumor was neither of these things. That's right, this rumor was neither true nor false. People were encountering Monochrome Pokemon in their copies of X and Y. Pokemon whose textures were grayscale. It was thought at the time that this was a new type of variation similar to shiny Pokemon. Unfortunately, to the great disappointment of many, when catching this anomaly, it would lose the grayscale appearance. In reality, this new variation was just a texture glitch, and was eventually patched out. Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal. Just as a whole. No, this is not a joke. These games were weird compared to every other game, and you can't really pretend like they weren't. These games did things no other games even think to do nowadays, and I'm actually quite sad about that. In these games, you were able to encounter Pokemon at levels that didn't make sense, such as a Noctowl you could encounter in Ilex Forest at level 10, or perhaps a Golduck at level 15. The game also threw fully evolved Pokemon at you shockingly early on. They're all stone evolutions, thus making them perfectly legal evolutions, but it's not something you see that often in these recent games. Then, we move on to the fact that Remoraid, a fish, evolves into Octillery, an octopus, and it starts to become apparent why I consider Gen 2 to be the weirdest generation. It's weird in a good way though. I love it a lot. But you see, what we got might have been weird, but what we didn't get was even weirder. I remember stumbling across a completed list of Pokemon stats from Gold and Silver Space World demo, and to say the least, it was quite odd. To start off, most of the Pokemon present have toned down stats. When I say this, I mean fully evolved starters have a base stat total of about 390 at best. There are many obvious changes, but I'll highlight the weirder ones. Multiple Pokemon are seen without the ability to evolve, despite clearly evolving into another Pokemon. This is likely to prevent demo players from seeing the evolutions if they were to level their Pokemon up enough while playing. Examples include Hoot, Ladybug, Hoppip, and the 3 starters. The Pokemon Norawara evolves into Kyonpen at level 1 for some reason. Hoot and its evolution were pure flying types, which is something you don't get to see until Black and White with the introduction of Tornadus. Mikon, the pre-evolution of Vulpix, was a water type. Sunflora was originally grass and psychic. Girafarig and its pre-evolutions were dark and normal types. Tentaquil cameo. Ponyta's pre-evolution was normal type. Umbreon was a poison type and evolved with the Poison Stone, while Espeon remained a psychic type and evolved with a Heart Stone, which sounds like a serious medical condition. Blossom and its scrap counterpart, Zabamito, were grass and poison, just like Vileplume and Victreebel are. Delibird was water and ice type, and looked a hell of a lot more like Santa. Scizor wasn't a steel type, but instead retained the bug and flying types from Scyther. Houndour and Houndoom were pure fire types. Sneasel was pure dark type. Snubbull was psychic type. Togepi had the same stats as Ho-Oh, who had a lower base stat total than the legendary beasts. And man, out of all the Space World demo stuff, this one had me in stitches. Next, I have a handful of shorter oddities that I can't turn into their own separate entries. There's a 1% chance to encounter a Wailord in Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald while surfing on a specific route. That route being Route 129. It's possible to obtain an illegally leveled Wailord like this. In Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, actually it's only in Diamond and Pearl. If you use a jar of honey or sweet scent in a shop, the shop text will temporarily vanish. Attempting to sell items fixes the bug. I used to have a copy of Pokemon Y that would crash every time I attempted to finish the story point in Glittering Cave. It was a copy that I had used Action Replay on, so I can only assume that's why. I've encountered several odd bugs while playing some games on a totally legit Game Boy. Those bugs include the screen getting scrambled if I tabbed out of the legit Game Boy for too long while playing Crystal, Pikachu's cry in yellow still partially playing if sound is muted on my legit Game Boy, and a hiker on Mount Moon freezing my game instead of initiating a battle. Attempting to leave Professor Oak's lab in Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow versions before choosing your starter causes Oak to call you back. But do this several times and the game crashes. There's a 1 in 64 chance of seeing a hiker, camper, or picnicker when using the cable car on Route 112. According to exactly one source that I cannot verify, there was also supposed to be a chance for the Pokemon species chasing Birch at the start of the game to appear too. When I first mentioned I was going to make this video to some close friends, one of them, who shall go unnamed, explained a very interesting event that had happened to them one time. According to her story, my friend was playing one of the Gen 1 games on the Super Game Boy, and while idling in Lavender Town, a text box opened randomly. That in itself is quite weird, but what made things even more so was the fact that before the text box could even display a single character, it was gone. This startled her a lot. She says that she doesn't know if this actually happened, or if she was just so tired that she was seeing things. Because there is the claim by her that she was tired enough to hallucinate this type of thing. But really, you never know. Maybe something was trying to communicate. I guess we really will never know. For today's bonus entry, I'd like to talk about an oddity not from Pokemon. I'm talking to you, right now, in this moment, about the underappreciated DS title known as Monster Racers, a 2D side-scrolling racing game where you race Pokemon-like monsters to win races. The monster known as Roktops is a very rare one. So rare, in fact, that it's more likely you'll have its exotic form appear to you than its normal one. Exotic monsters can be compared to shinies in Pokemon, the only difference being that exotic monsters actually have statistical differences. The player is rewarded with an exotic Roktops if they beat the post-game area known as the Racer's Labyrinth, meaning that you're more likely to have the rarer variant of Roktops than the normal one. Well, that was fun, right? You learned some new stuff. Maybe, possibly. Even if you didn't, I hope you did at least enjoy the video. You now know why I keep titling videos the way I do. That the I in the title from my previous videos was to indicate the potential for a sequel, though not guarantee one. Think of it like preparation for the possibility of a sequel, rather than the confirmation of one. And now that you've seen the first II video, just lock your doors, please. Just trust me, it's not gonna take much longer to reach you. Well, have a fungus.